a lot of energy, just over the top, put it in and see what happens. That's what you're going for.
I'd rather you just be yourself. I'm not sure if you're on like the Twitter train or anything like that. Or
you mean X, by the way?
X.
Come on,
sorry.
keep up with
if you know
the time.
That. And I saw on Instagram recently. I'm a bit behind the trend because I'm not really with X. But my sister told me that they were talking about ins and outs for 2024.
Okay.
And on the out list, seems that everyone has it in common is that microphones and men doing podcasts. should be on the out list. And one of the things that they were talking about was how microphones should be priced at 100k.
Microphones?
Yeah. So it limits the people who do podcasts.
It limits
basically nowadays, in today's society, we have people, anyone and anything, just picking up a mic and just speaking.
I think surely that's what you'd want. You don't want to limit it to people who are from a specific background.
Yeah.
Have a specific thing to say. Yeah. You need to broaden the horizons. Honestly, that's what I love doing. Like, I love talking to just anyone from anywhere because.
But what about all those guys that they have the most random stuff, talking about masculinity in the wrong way, advising kids wrong. Yeah. Like, there's been so many people that just like. I saw a reel the other day of two young guys, being like, "Yeah, well, if you really think about it, 100k is not much. What's a million? A million's not much." And they're just like talking, and you're just there like, make it make sense.
And then I feel like those are the type of people that you might funnel and get in the end. Like, you might just bottle to a certain type of person. And then rather than having the variety and being able to choose what you get to consume, you only get a certain limited selection. Well, you can't choose what that's going to be because it would be people who can just afford the microphones. So I don't know about that.
Here we are. I've obviously saw that story and thought we need to buy microphones quickly before the price changes.
That's the natural train of thought, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, 100k mics. Okay, so I bought two. And here we are.
We are those people who were supposed to get the mics out for 2024, but instead brought it in.
Yeah.
We're trailblazers. That's what it seems like.
I'm hoping we don't get put into that category.
Yeah. But it's fine. I don't mind dissenting, honestly.
But we'll see. I think we just got to go and talk, and then whatever happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm ready for it. Honestly, I'm excited. And as the new year starts, I'm ready to pick up my mic.
100%. What I thought was, obviously, in this setup that we've had, we've taken a lot of inspiration from people because we watch a lot of podcasts. And I asked you to bring some things.
Yeah.
And I brought some stuff.
Yeah.
And I figured it would spark some conversation.
Absolutely.
So you tell me something, pick an item that you brought and I want to hear about it.
Or maybe we can reverse it and you pick an item that you think would be interesting. Because I'm sure we each have a story behind each one.
What?
So you can pick a story, for instance, that I brought that you'd be like, okay,
you want me to pick one of your items?
Yeah,
I thought you were just passing it off to me.
No.
I'm not prepared.
Avoidance.
Okay, I'm curious. Well, in that case, let's set the scene. I'm intrigued about this.
The trophy.
The trophy.
Of course.
I feel like it's a memory we shared. Maybe
it's something to start off. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is. You know, I believe me not. I think that's the trophy we won when your dad took us to the tournament.
I've been thinking about it.
I think that is the trophy. I kid you not, that's the trophy. And then
it might be,
because I'm thinking how old were we when that happened? Do you remember?
So that's under 8. So
how your little sister? How? What's the age difference?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, so
this might have been slightly prior.
Yeah,
but you might as well share that. Like that's one of my favorite stories. I always find it so funny.
Well, the story when your dad is taking us to this tournament. We're all so excited because me and Mo, and we're in the back of the car, and we're kind of running late anyways because I think you and your family we all kind of like to work under pressure. So time is of the essence.
What do we call
right
it? Is people of color? It's like CP time.
CP time.
CP time. Yeah.
If you don't know,
it runs deeply in our veins.
So we're just there. We're rushing to the tournament. A little bit late, anyways. And of course, we run out of. I'm gonna say gas, but that's because I lived in America for too long. Run out of petrol. It's funny I say petrol because we stop at the petrol station, and of course, what happens is your dad. I don't know if he had a diesel car and puts the petrol in, or he had
a petrol car.
And put a diesel in. Very basic mistake, but the cost was so high because the car just wouldn't start and it wouldn't go. So
that's classic. That's my dad just to a T. He's a phenomenal man. Yeah. But it's the little things like that just makes me laugh. And I've got a funny story to share. Actually, funny. So that had happened. Yeah. And then we who came to rescue us in the end? Was it your dad?
It must be.
Your dad must have come.
I just remember just getting there.
Yeah, and we turned up. And the first game of the tournament had already kicked off.
Yeah.
And we ran on. I used to play goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I was up front. So
and we came. And the crazy thing is, we actually ended up winning the tournament that day.
Yeah, that's why I thought that trophy was that tournament, but it just numbers weren't adding up. So it can't be. It's just a shame.
Exactly, and I think that's just what I wanted to share with you. Is that it's the epitome of my dad in terms of like the nonchalance and something I've adopted a lot.
I feel like he never stressed out.
He's always stresses out. And I'll tell you a funny story that happened recently. It must have been. This was the 23rd of December. We went to go buy some food for the Christmas celebrations, for the New Year's, everything, right? And we went to a place called Wing Yip, which is in Croydon. So it's like a big superstore where they like sell a lot of food from Asia. Yeah. Really like it. They sell really good stuff, right? And halfway through our shop journey, the fire alarms went off. But no one reacted, no one did anything. Yeah. Everyone carried on shopping, right? Okay. We got towards the back of the store. Yeah. And then I was like, it smells a little bit funky. My sister's like, oh, it actually does smell a little bit funky. And then the fire alarm goes off again. And this time people are, we're leaving. And then there's like shutters coming down.
Oh. What?
And then I was like, oh, okay. And then my mum runs off. She decided to go. My sister's gone. And I'm like, Dad, we need to go. And then there's people who've come, staff members have come, and they've gone, right, we need to head that way. Yeah. And my dad, and I just look around, my dad's over there, he's like, so what is a chicken thigh? What is it? No, I'm not even joking, right? In his head, maybe the translation from French to English wasn't there, but he was like, which part is a thigh? Is that... I was like, Dad, we're evacuating. And I wish for the life of me I had recorded this moment. It's one of the funniest things. And it's how I would describe my dad to a T. Like I was like, we were in here, everyone was panicking, everyone was leaving. And he was just there like, what's a chicken thigh? Like, and I think he just forgot the translation. He was like, because he was like, is it the drumstick? Is it
yeah. That's a very important question, to be honest. I think that keeps me up at night too.
I was shocked. I was laughing, and it's just one of those things that I'm like, it's typical. But I love those memories because I feel like I said, like that is the essence of him.
Yeah,
in his nonchalance and his way of just being stressed, not stressed and just calm.
Never phased. And I think I must have inherited that as well, just from my upbringing. My dad's similar. Yeah. So now I'm very much a nonchalant type of guy.
I think we both are relatively stress-free.
Yeah, right.
But no. So is that what you were thinking about that trophy?
So that's what I was thinking about with this trophy. So I thought it was important. Okay. It might not be the trophy, but it links to that memory, and I think it's just
it's true. It's one of those things that has to come up in our core memories together because it's part of the things that we shared. But you're like,
absolutely.
Yeah, of course it happened to us, didn't it? Like it was just classic.
Oh, that's good. So
got you. But obviously you're a big football fan.
Yes.
Big football
fan.
I guess dare I ask, who is it that you support? I think it's worth pointing out that this was for Meridian Athletic. That was the first team I played football for in the UK.
Yeah, me too.
We used to sport, was it the maroon and blue?
Yeah, maroon and blue. It's got a nice ring to it.
So that's fond memories of that for sure.
Yes, this goes back to underrates as well.
Underrates,
all felt so real back then. Like you just want to win, you want to do good for the team. Yeah, it was good memories for sure.
100%.
And
so dare I ask, who's it that you support?
So
I have an idea, but I don't know if it's fully like because we catch up every so often.
So can you support two teams at a time? Because I think
well, some people
I must
will,
see.
will,
I
will
must
depend.
see.
I feel like we all have a kinship with the town that we live in, and we support that team.
I always find that fun. Yeah.
And then have a bigger team.
So the town, of course, is Brighton because that's where we grew up. And later on, I'll explain my other links with Brighton. But favorite player of all time is Didier Drogba. Didier. Of course.
I really thought it'd be Samuel Eto'o.
Oh, nah. Didier, hands
know.
down for sure. Inspiration to be a striker.
Yeah.
So, from the very beginning, I think when he was at Chelsea, that's when I started really getting into football.
Yeah.
And I was like, if Didier plays with that team, I'm going to support that team. And it just stuck. And then to be fair, Eden Hazard came as well. So those are my two favorite players.
And that was a powerful Chelsea team.
Right? It really was. It really was. So that was fun times. It's 2024 now, and I think, sadly, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No, I hear you.
Empire's crumbling, unfortunately, I feel like. But
it's a very tough time to be a Chelsea fan.
It really is.
Very tough time to be a Chelsea fan.
So when you hear, people like Manchester United fans complaining, it's just I weep inside because I'm just like, how are you complaining? Like, do you not see what's going on?
What is it at the end of the day? Is it just about table position for you? Is that not enough of a?
I think Chelsea has good potential because we have a lot of young talent, but at the same time, I don't know if there's a clear vision behind it at all. From my perspective, it's not a clear vision at all.
That's very fair.
I think that's important. I think in anything, even from personal to business to football, you need a vision. Otherwise, how do you know where you're going? You don't know where you're heading. So
that's very fair.
I think that's a big mistake I think Chelsea are making, or I don't see that they're doing.
Cool.
But I'm sure it's more complex than that.
Feel free to pick an item for me.
Yes. All right. Finally, of course. This photo. Come on.
You've let me down because I asked you to bring a photo of you with you.
Yeah, I know.
And you didn't. And I was like, I'm not going to let it get to my head. So I thought I'd choose me in my younger days. Much slimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this picture just is something I find really cool because it reminds me of where I came from. It reminds me of when I put it in behind the Senegal.
Yes, you have actually.
Boat, which is a typical thing that we have at home. But I think the older I get, the more I'm like trying to understand myself and figure out who I am. And then I'm like, the reality is I'm 50% this. Like that's a big part of your genetic makeup. So it's important to figure out what that is and why that is. And so, I think, I've always had a big head. My mum had to have a C-section
because of my head. Oh gosh.
But
causing problems.
That's just me living life. I think I'm a kid at heart.
Yeah.
100%. Wouldn't debate that. And I think that's little Pappy, as they used to say. Papy.
So where is that?
Not the Hispanic version.
That's important to actually make that difference. But where's the photo taken as well?
In the beach in so Dakar, the capital city, is coastal. Yeah. And like you said, you mentioned earlier Brighton coastal. I think I've always had being in the coastal by the sea, super important. But I think it just takes you back to more innocent days where you didn't worry about life.
Days,
you didn't worry about life. You didn't worry about.
I wonder what age you get really real.
I know whether or not you get cancelled on a podcast. That kind of stuff.
That wouldn't be us. No. I was talking to I work in the hospital as well, so I was talking to a patient, and he said that unequivocally, the age where things just go downhill is 45. I was like, okay, interesting. So he just said, what? Enjoy until 45. And he feels like at the age of 45, that's when things just become really hard.
Why?
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal thing.
the moment he hit 45,
apparently he's just like life's harder.
Oh, like, poor guy.
Yeah. Was he?
Damn.
But I think I feel like if you stay youthful at heart,
that's my problem.
The challenges
I want to enjoy life till I die. I don't think I want to get to the point where you're like, that's it, life's all the good things.
That's it, and it's downhill from there. Nah, but I think physically maybe it does go downhill quite soon. But that's
physically
why, you feel
and then you do see those people
spiritual. That is true.
Shredded, like a good quality of life. I've seen some really cool people that I'm like, I'd love to be able to do that if you have kids.
I think it's possible. It's doable.
Have the level of athleticism to be able to keep up with them.
Yeah. No, that'd be important. But I think it's crazy how much. Well, I think, anyways, the decisions that you make today will affect you so much in the future. So it's just like, and even the decisions that you made in the past and like you've ended up here because of those. So
do you not think is there
sometimes people
things?
Trivialize decisions, but I don't know, maybe you should really think about them.
Do you not feel like you can do things and there, like at a certain age, I feel like there's a point of no return, but to a certain point, you can relatively, because you make it sound like sort of doom and gloom. If you do something bad, then that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life.
Well, I think a lot of your decisions there's always consequences to them. Yeah, always consequences to them.
True, I hear that.
You might not know what it is. You might not know. You might think it's bad, but it's actually good, and vice versa.
Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned the hospital because I was thinking of a story if that happened.
Yeah.
Because I think one of, and dare I say fond, it was not a fun memory. COVID isn't fun for anyone because of what the outcome was.
Yeah.
But one of the main things we did during that time was work together at the hospital.
Yes.
In our housekeeping.
Very interesting times.
Responsibilities and challenges. And I thought it was such an interesting insight to be able to work there and to help people out. And I think from the experiences you have with people in a time where they were so lonely, it was really cool to be there for people as well and whatnot. But the story I remember was actually something I had forgotten about for a little while. And I used to work a lot in the trauma unit, which was where I did most of my training.
Yeah.
And this is usually the place they take you post operation or post
I see.
some
the recovery
accident or something. It's the recovery part of it.
Okay.
So like they look after you. There's like physios come up, that sort of stuff. And there's a woman I used to see. She was there. She'd been in the hospital for a long time, and she had a neck brace. I was like, eventually you get talking to people because they don't see anyone, especially with COVID. I was like, oh, so what are you in here for? I just assumed that she had broken her neck or something. She was like, I actually tell you a funny story. I was like, I'm all ears. And this was great because it means that we weren't cleaning. But she was like, I was on the beach with my son and we were just going for a walk.
I wonder how funny this story would be with her in a brace as she's telling this, but I'm curious.
No, she said funny. I didn't say funny. She said funny. So I'm just like going with her. And I was like, okay, I'm so curious. Like I said, she was like, I'm on the beach, a bright beach, walking along the pebbles, really windy. And obviously in Brighton, we've got a horrible reputation with seagulls. Like, seagulls are the worst and most annoying thing ever. And funny enough, she was there. She was having a sandwich with her son or something. And a seagull, and it must have been high winds or something, a seagull came and hit her in the side of the head. Do you remember the story? Do you remember if I ever told you this? A seagull came, hit her in the side of the head, and like gave her whiplash of sorts, and she just like it gave her stress. She was like, it was like being punched in the head. I was like, what are the odds of a seagull hitting you in the head? Right,
just flying into you.
Yeah, so that happens, and then she doesn't think anything of it.
She's just like, did you laugh at that point, or was that the funny story?
I actually do not remember.
But anyways,
I was just like, damn, that's crazy. You know when you're like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a bit shocking. Yeah,
shocking. And she then was like, so I just for a few months after that, I was kind of just, my back was seizing up a little bit. Things were going really well. So then eventually I came to the hospital, and they were like, yeah, you've broken your spinal. I think it was relatively high. Because what had happened was the muscle started seizing from the back up. And like, therefore she eventually couldn't move. But what was crazy about this entire story, and I think we can dive deep into this a little bit more at another time, but like, she talked about how she went in for a scan, and it was a full body scan to just see the spinal cord,
the damage,
what do you call it? The whole thing?
The spinal cord,
Spinal cord, is that the name for the bone?
Your vertebra.
The vertebra, that's what I was thinking of. And they found a growth in her chest.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So they caught cancer. And we were there, and she was like, it's crazy to me that I'm alive today and then caught cancer early on because a seagull hit me in the head. Because
yes,
they did the scan and therefore they were looking for something else and they found something else. And I was like, what in the world? So that was something that's always stuck in
I can't imagine.
Like, because sometimes when something happens to you, I guess the bottom line is you don't really know, like, you can't connect the dots, you can't understand.
Yeah.
And for her, she could not have known where she was going to end up the day that the seagull hit her in the head.
She must have been so stressed, frustrated, all of these, like, this is the worst thing ever, but then all of a sudden you've caught something early and you've given yourself such a better chance.
And that's what they were, and she was like, now they're treating me for this, but they're also treating me for the...
Yeah. Must have been such a shock though. Like, you're going in to hear about your scan about your neck or whatever's going on with your vertebrae from the seagull, and then all of a sudden you just get such a life altering news.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I'm sure you can share a story from the hospital at a different time, but
I thought of those
as a starting point.
That was a feel good one though, because I think
conversation.
Yeah, that was definitely a feel good one. So I like that one. And I hope she's doing better now.
Yeah, I hope so. My dream is things where you're like, I'd love for that person to like eventually reach out and be like, oh, I'm doing better, or this or that.
Probably scared of seagulls now, but I think...
Oh my god, that's one. I'd move away from Brighton.
Kind of scared of seagulls.
I'd move away from Brighton.
Yeah, and sometimes they work together with their attacks nowadays. I don't know if I told you about the story when I had my fish and chips, of course, in Brighton. I was showing some people around Brighton. I think the standard go-to thing is fish and chips. Go to the beach. It's summer, and you enjoy it. And I had my fish and chips in one hand, and of course, seagulls straight away, as soon as they sniff a little bit of anything, they start swooping down. But I wasn't having it. Like, I was prepared, so I put my fish and chips there and I started fighting it away. And then, of course, his mate came in and stole my fish and chips that was in the other hand. And I was like, no way. And the worst part of it is that I saw them laughing together away, and I saw them just eating the fish and chips together. So they must have been working together. So they're just getting smarter and smarter. I was shocked.
I'm certain the seagulls are getting smarter and smarter.
I couldn't believe it. Honestly.
They're another breed, that's without doubt.
So
Darwin's theory of evolution. Biting seagulls
they need to survive.
They're on another level.
They're cooperating.
They coordinate attacks, and
so just beware.
Fair enough. That's a good one.
That's my experience.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think I don't know if you want to continue.
What do you mean?
Because I had a question actually about your big head. It wasn't actually about your big head. Really, so I was just thinking, like, so how old were you around?
I'm not even going to entertain your question.
No. It's not about that. Maybe I came too personal. Sorry. But how old were you around in that picture?
I reckon I was 6, maybe 7.
And you remember the time you went to the beach? In that photo?
I've got a terrible memory. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I remember, like, you know, when you remember things because of it's a picture or because people tell you.
I see. Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Possibly, yeah, like confabulation, as in they just say this happened, and you're like, oh, maybe it did happen.
Because you link it, because obviously the photo exists. It's not like it's fabricated.
Okay, so because I was going to ask you when your earliest memory was.
It's a good question. So I'm unaware whether or not it's to do with being told or not. But I'd like to dive deep into that into another.
Yeah, but I don't know. For instance,
conversation.
For instance, I have a recollection of I grew up in Cameroon. Well, I was born in Cameroon and I left when I was 5. But I have a recollection of what the house that we used to live in was like.
Same.
So
Same.
Yeah, but then I don't think you can't make that up, can you? Let's say you didn't know what it was, but then you have a recollection of it. It must be a memory if someone comes in with a photo and says, oh, okay, like, this is some of the photos from the house that we lived in. And you see that it looks like what you remembered. So, unless you think just by the virtue of me seeing it, it has just reinforced this memory.
But if it happened, surely the connections is there.
Yeah.
The whatever the experience was is there.
Yeah.
So therefore, seeing that picture would then trigger that, or would, like...
Interesting. Go into about memory and stuff like that. But I think there's just because you've made the connection, it doesn't stay there for the rest of your life. I wish it did. That'd be great.
No,
that'd be so good.
Because the brain would have changed a lot in that 20
and there's something called synaptic pruning, which means you just, if you're not using it, it just gets rid of it. So,
genuinely?
Yeah, especially earlier on anyways.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like a self-regulating system.
Yeah, it is. So that's why I'm going to get too sidetracked here. But yeah, it's just really interesting.
Yeah. Really interesting. Well, remember it and then we'll bring it back.
Yeah, exactly. This next episode. Further episode.
Yeah. On the next one. We didn't even tell them our name. What our brand is. At the end of the podcast. But, yeah.
Who are these two people?
These two random guys. They don't know your name. They don't know the brand name. It's just two guys.
Get too excited.
Like I said, because it's conversational. Yeah. I'm not expecting you to tell me.
Yeah, I think that's what I forgot. Like, why would I introduce?
But I think they'll figure it out eventually. I'm in no rush to.
Well, you're just not going to say it even now.
No, I think we'll leave it as LMNOP.
Oh, okay.
We'll go from there.
They might know what the P is about, but what is the other letter that could be relevant? Because I think you mentioned the P or AP.
A sort of P. Yeah.
Sort of P.
Cool. Yeah.
But
I feel like that should be the podcast name.
A sort of P.
Know our names.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Do
you think they could find out? How would they?
Oh, easily.
But then that'd be homework, so we could get to know our names. How do you feel about the kind of first episode and kind of introductions about us a little bit? Like we just talked about crowns.
I'm excited. I'm curious to go into the edits. I'm curious about learning more about the audio. I'm so like taking this project on. I'm just like just very excited and curious about it all.
I think you're definitely the one with the technological knowledge of it. I just have the passion for just getting in camera and chatting about things that I'm passionate about, interested about, and just would like to share, to be honest with you.
I think that makes sense.
I think you providing that.
I think that makes a dynamic duo.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so much more to come.
Yes, for sure.
That's the starting point.
For sure. I've already said like, oh yeah, this is for the next episode.
I think
you're gonna have to stay tuned.
Yeah, that's true. Cool.
Alright, but thank you for joining us in the first episode. It was a pleasure. It was lovely. I'm gonna do the outro. And I guess one thing that I want you to think about as you go is, what is your earliest memory? And is it really a memory? Or is it just a confabulation? Did someone tell you this actually happened, but it didn't really happen? They just put it in your head, a little seed, and planted it, and it's just growing. So yeah, a little thing to ponder about. Peace. See ya. Shalom.